evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I welcome all of you back to another Rage video, where tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are now onto the penultimate hurdle of Rush's Signals album, and what a journey this has been so far. It has been one of intense discovery, it has been of intense learning, and it's been one of intense enjoyment, and it has also been one of intense reflection. So how do we go from having it all to realizing we're losing it all? So if you guys want to check out the original video for yourselves, links will all be in the description down below. Let's begin. Losing it in 3. I think I just dislocated my finger. That's better. In 3, 2, 1, and...
Dancers, loads of frantic pace in pain and desperation, raking limbs and downcast face aglow with perspiration. Stiff as wire, her lungs on fire with just the briefest pause, flooding through her memory the echoes of old applause. And she limps across the floor and closes her bedroom door. The writer stares with glassy eyes, defies the empty page. It is white, his face is lined and streaked with tears of rage. 30 years ago, how the words would flow with passion and precision. Now his mind is darkened all by sickness and indecision. And he stares out the kitchen door, where the sun will rise no more.
Where the sun will rise no more. I'm pretty sure, isn't that how Romeo and Juliet begins? Signifying that, because the person they're talking about is supposed to be Ernest Hemingway. But that's, Rise Again. I'm pretty sure it's got to be from Romeo and Juliet. But what it is, it's again another part of life that's also, despite all the enthusiasm and despite all the encouragement I was exclaiming to the rooftops in New World Man, it can't help deny that unfortunately there is also the very real facts of deterioration. When, whether or not we like it or not, ladies and gentlemen, age doesn't slow down for no man. Whether we want to accept this or not, there's going to be a time when, even if our minds did work as they were needing to, diseases, plagues, things come into our mind and infect our bodies and just the ability to think coherently. There is no armor against fate, ladies and gentlemen, but it's not something you can prepare for. It's just one of the things that does happen in life, and it's still a part of life that a lot of people, probably myself included, are very, very oh yeah, that's right. When death, you begin to realize death is sort of a part of all this. either that or some cheap analogy about some cheap slapper who now literally now has to sell her wares for whatever she's worth left.
Some are born to move the world, to live their fantasies. Most of us just dream about the things we'd like to be. Sadder still to watch you die than never to have known it. For you, the blind who once could see, the bell tolls for me. Bell tolls for you, the blind who once could see. Bell tolls for thee. Bell tolls for
And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That was Losing It by, and look, there I am again. No views, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see about that. So, if I want to be honest, ladies and gentlemen, if this is where, like, this album came to an end, this would be almost like, it would make an all too perfect sense if the album literally ended right here. If, like, we pass very, very softly into that good night. If it literally ended right here, then I don't think there would be any reason for us to be entirely very upset. I think if when we look back on it, we lived our life, we made our choices, we could have lived out made our biggest dreams come true. We could have done a lot of things, ladies and gentlemen, and again, you've got to, like, hold yourself accountable for the decisions you make in this world. And again, I don't think there's ever, like, anything I would ever consider wrong with my life so far, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I know I've perhaps made not the best decisions in the world, but at the very least, I made those decisions myself. And if I made flaws, ladies and gentlemen, then I can fix my flaws. In fact, it was interesting enough that they had Ben Mink do an electric violin solo towards the end, because ironically that did remind me of something that I wasn't really sure if I wanted to mention back in the day, is that when I was in secondary school, we actually did have this deputy head of the school who... He was a very stern. He would always go, "You come here, you come here." He was like, he thought he was like, the one man dictatorship. When I first met him back in 2011, But if you got taught by him, you found out very quickly, you know what, he just did that because, you know, he was one of those people who really did think that when you come into school, you're not like so much a pupil, but you're a man, and if you showed respect, then you would 100% get it back from him. And I say that because he was also a very, very keen violin player. He even tried to get a job as being the head of what used to be my sister's old secondary school, and it was interesting because he wasn't even that bad of a violin player, if I'm being completely honest. But again, much to the shock of myself and probably a lot of other people around about this time, is that he passed away very shortly after I left secondary school in 2016. And it was a tremendous shock for a lot of people because I did remember seeing him a number of times during my final few days in secondary school, in the upper six, but I never really had the impression there was anything wrong with him. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe that's just how it is sometimes. Condolences to his family. I think for those that know will probably know who I'm talking about, which is again why I'm not going to be mentioning any names. But it gives you something to think about, ladies and gentlemen, is that when each man faces death by himself, and however we decide to face it, we've got to be ready and prepared for it. The worst sort of deaths, ladies and gentlemen, are not the ones that are painful or even painless, or ones that seem inexplicably cruel or needless. But the worst sort of deaths, ladies and gentlemen, are those that die before their time. Those who were taken away from this earth for no other reason than maybe it is the old wrong place, wrong time. But what about the people who sacrifice their lives to save others? Surely they must be allowed, rewarded for their heroism in some way. Not through death, but that they are held as an example for all of us. Shad Gaspard is, perhaps the biggest example I can think of this. For those who don't remember, Shad Gaspard was he was one half of Crime Time. He was along with JTG. He was 40 years old, and he saved his son from drowning, and basically he sacrificed his own life so that his son may survive. And I think he was really good friends with Montel Vontavious Porter, and it's a tragic thing what happened to Shad, and it's something that many people will never forget. And I think we have all the reasons in the world to remember stuff like that. Some things like that almost go further afield than those who don't devote their entire lives to science, to cancer research. But it's when you actually do things that really do matter is the things you will go down for. It's just a small thing, but I think it says a lot more than perhaps it actually does. Maybe that's how I could put it. Again, it's one up better than that stupid, prostitute analogy I made all that time ago. What on earth was I talking about back then? I still have the same jacket as well. Dear me. So anyway, I hope all of you guys have enjoyed this reaction video to Losing It by Rush. We still have one more song to go. So, if you guys want to check out the original video for yourselves, we will get into all of that next time. And I will look forward to some of you guys again in the next video. Take care, and bye-bye for now.